All right, I think we're ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Listen, if you want to treat us like animals, if you want to consider us domestic terrorists, then that's exactly what the fuck you're gonna get, okay? So I'm sorry if you think ICE are the only people that can waltz around these motherfucking streets with the mask over their face and trying to hide their identity. I know it's probably not smart of me to do it now, considering I've done 700 shows with no mask on, but I think you guys get the idea. So everybody's getting ready. I think it's the 18th, if I'm not mistaken, that people are going to be out. And you know what? I think Chicago got everybody pretty motivated last night, if I do say so myself. I just got to say, Chicago getting people motivated. I think this is going to start in obvious places where, the violence is the most active, the ICE is the most active, and that's where it's going to spread from there. So it was good to see Chicago come out last night. Let me bring in the chat. Let me bring in all of the fine mods that we have here. Thank you so much, mods, for everything you do, keeping this chat a safe place. Jupiter Judy, how are you? What's up, Ian? What's up, Jim? Roxanne, how are you? WW, what's up, Triplia? What's up, Nicholas? Soulcraft, how are you? Manda, what's going on? Rox, thank you for your services. What up, Sammy boy? Hi, Roxanne, how are you? What's up, Kat? Jupiter Judy, Julie, what's up, Ghost? Alyosha, as always, I appreciate you guys. I do. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. I don't know how people can. It's just we're just representing here. Like I said, it seemed like Chicago got everybody pretty motivated last night with them showing up in the streets the way they did. So I just wanted to come in and show my solidarity, show my support, put on a little bit of the garb that we are definitely going to be donning in the next and nearest protest and rally that comes our way. So I appreciate it, but no, we won't do the whole here, just to make sure I won't do the whole thing. Ready? All right, there we go. So point proven. All right, so we got a lot to cover today. I appreciate you guys. Let me see if we can kind of toss in a few of these main stories that we have. I got a crap load here, to tell you the truth. Let's see. I'll pop this on the screen for you guys as well. I'm always amazed by how much can possibly take place, when you do so many shows throughout the week, and then you're like wondering, oh, am I going to have something to talk? Yes, you're going to have something to talk about. Absolutely. You're actually not going to be able to cover all of it, to tell you the truth. So just to kind of fly by, we're going to go over just a few of the things we'll be talking about today. I got about 45 different things pulled up. So we're going to be talking about what we know about the Gaza ceasefire deal. There is a CNN article here that I wanted to talk about that kind of details a little bit, I think, of what Israel is kind of keeping in their back pocket. We got some clips here to show, despite the initial report suggesting that a ceasefire began this morning at 12, the main battle tanks have been deployed onto the Al Rashid coastal road to prevent Palestinians from re-entering Gaza City, opening fire on crowds that were attempting to cross from southern into northern Gaza City. So, we'll be talking about that as well. Donald Trump gave his he had a little cabinet meeting this morning. I won't subject you to all of that. I'm sure there's a few clips that we get into here. I'm sure Asen and Aaron Rupar posted a few clips. I think Donald Trump also spoke with Sean Hannity. So maybe at the same time, we can kind of check out a few of those debacles that he had. I know the I've Had It ladies, Janet Pumps, have a video that I want to check out. We'll be going back to school as well. So there's, like I said, Trump's cabinet meeting. We'll be going back to school, talking about fascism and what, anti-fascism, how that's the right side of history and how that's the good side and the right, the good people. What else do we got? We'll be talking about Trump's health. Apparently, Trump's scheduled to go back into Walter Reed on Friday for his yearly checkup that he just had 6 months ago. So I don't know how many yearly checkups this guy requires, but it's also strange to me that they're trying to kind of, align this as being like a trip to meet and greet the troops. And he just kind of happens to pop in on the side for a checkup. So the way that they're trying to frame that is very Russian-esque, is very Kremlin-esque. So that's something we've been talking about. Ben has a good video kind of depicting a little bit and talking a little bit about that. Matt Walsh is on with Newsmax talking about how Antifa is, again, some, ultra paramilitary violent force in an organization that needs to be eradicated at all costs. There's some more news talking about Stephen Miller. We got a lot to get into. There's some obviously some Ukraine updates that I want to talk about. Zelensky is pulling a genius move, if I couldn't say so myself. I mean, how smart is this, right? Look, like Patui just said it, right? So Trump's begging for the Nobel Peace Prize, right? So how smart of Zelensky is it to be like, you know what? Guess what? You want the Nobel Peace Prize so bad? Give us them fucking tomahawks, and we'll talk about and consider, nominating you for that Nobel Peace Prize. Just playing on Trump's, his what do you call it? His selfishness, his egotistical nature, you know what I mean? His sociopathic, tendencies that he got. I just think this is a brilliant move. You know what I mean? We may not, it may be fucking hard for us to swallow if, this ever comes to fruition. I know it's going to be a hard pill to swallow for everybody or whatever, but it in any way that Zelensky and the Ukrainians can get a hand up on both Russia and Donald Trump in order to get them the most weapons or the best weapons or the best negotiating stance at the table, like, I'm all for it. So this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant to be like, listen, you know what? I know, and this is just his team being so up on, what's going on, listening to Trump over the last, I don't know, month or two, how many times he's probably mentioned the Nobel Peace Prize and 9 wars and bullshit that we've been spewing. So let's say, okay, let's do this. Why don't we just say, send them tomahawks over, and we'll think about, nominating you for that Nobel Peace. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great. We got a couple other different articles to talk about. Russia launched another attack overnight on Ukraine, pretty substantial one. Attacks Ukraine with 112 drones. Hits recorded at 12 different locations. There's also a good video from Ken Harbaugh that, if we have time, I'd like to get into, because he's back in Ukraine visiting some of the same sites that I visited with him last time. So he's meeting the anti-aircraft team that was set up on the river of the Dnipro outside of Kyiv. The same judges that I was talking about not too many shows ago, Supreme Court and people even in lower courts in Ukraine. Hold on. I got to figure out what's playing. Right, there you go. Every time I touch my ear, something plays in my ear. All right, so what do you say we get into it? Make sure you guys hit that like button. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. There's, again, a multitude of different ways that you can help this channel. One being the one up in the corner here. You can hit that Venmo, take a picture of it, send you right to mine, bust a buck, try your luck, send a buck or two, and support some independent media that sells you nothing, that doesn't hide anything behind a paywall, that doesn't make you pay for anything in order to see any content whatsoever. All I do is ask if you enjoy the content, if you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing too, and you are in the financial position to do so. Please think about giving in any one of the ways that we could possibly do so. You can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/BostonBrian. You can also become a channel member here on YouTube for as little as $2.99 for the month. You can donate those memberships. You can do super chats. You can do super stickers, a ton of different ways. And, I know it sucks to hear. It's probably boring and you hate hearing that part of it, but unfortunately it's part of my job. It's part of the duties as an independent commentator trying to make it in this political arena. So thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for understanding, and thank you so much for your kind and generous contributions. And again, anybody that donates, stick around to the end of the show. I always give a shout out. I always thank you guys. I always show my appreciation for any of the, like I said, super chats, anybody that signs up or donates any gifts. Stick around to the end of the show, and we will highlight and thank you guys for that. So what do you say we get into it? Right off the bat, Dame, thank you. So swear jar. I appreciate that, Dame. $10 for Venmo. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Right off the bat. And thank you to everybody else that follows. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about a little about what we know so far about this Gaza ceasefire deal. The BBC put this out about an hour or so ago. Let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can at least have a chance of reading it. How's that? A little better for you guys to see? A little better? All right. So after 3 days of intense indirect negotiations in Egypt, U.S. President Donald Trump says Israel and Hamas have signed off on the first phase of the deal. We know that. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace, end quote, he posted on social media, without providing further details about what the first phase entails. So it's not so much about what has come out about this first phase of the deal, but it's what hasn't been discussed so far, and they're pretty glaring differences. Like, there's some pretty glaring, problems that need to be solved in order to see any long-lasting, peaceful resolution that is good for both sides in this situation, right? So, again, I like I said the other day, steps in the right direction are very good to see, But again, we're taking this with the biggest grain of salt we could possibly take it with, knowing, Netanyahu's intentions, the intentions of the people surrounding Netanyahu, the actions that we've seen very recently, the statements from Netanyahu that we've heard very recently, in their intended goals that they've set out throughout this entire campaign. So for them to just kind of, it's already being said by a bunch of Israeli nationalists and people in the background that they're not going to go for this Hamas having any influence whatsoever in governing that area after this so-called peace plan goes into effect. So again, that goes on. It goes on to say it comes 2 years and 2 days after the Hamas-led attack on October 7th, which about 1,200 people were killed, 250 others were taken hostage. This triggered a massive Israeli. So this is basically just giving the rundown of what's happened, but we know that. So what has been agreed? Okay. So once the agreement is formally approved, as expected by the Israeli cabinet, a ceasefire will take effect. Reports in Israeli media suggest that this will happen, although a spokesperson for the Prime Minister's office said it would begin within 24 hours of the cabinet's approval. The Israeli military will withdraw to a line that will leave it in control of about 53% of the Strip, the spokesperson said, according to a map distributed by the White House last week. This is the first of 3 stages of Israeli withdrawal. Those are the 3 different colors that we have talked about in the map that was released. The Israeli military said on Thursday that preparations were underway to, quote, transition to adjusted deployment lines soon. After this, 72-hour countdown will begin, during which Hamas must release all 20 of the hostages. I believe it's 28. Oh, yeah. Okay. So believed to be alive, and the 28 deceased hostages would follow, although it's not clear how long that would take. That's another point that I want to talk about that has to do with the next article, which is Israel just released about. So let's get into that. I'll just show you this real quick because that goes to the point that we just made. So Israel assesses Hamas may not be able to return all of the remaining dead hostages, sources say, right? So it seems to me that after reading this article that Israel for some time has been well aware that because of the devastation, because of the destruction, because of the fast-paced nature of the destruction that's happened, and, the inability to I don't know, accurately, I guess, in the beginning of this conflict, tell people where the bombs were going to fall, right? So basically what this is saying that is Israel assesses that Hamas may not be able to find and return all of the remaining dead hostages in Gaza, according to 3 Israeli sources, a fact that may complicate efforts to finalize a deal to end the war. And it goes on. Listen. So sources say the Israeli government is aware that Hamas may not know the location of or is unable to retrieve the remains of some of the 28 remaining deceased hostages. The latest intelligence is believed to have put the number in single figures. Some sources had earlier suggested it may have been higher. One of the sources said assessments are based on the Israeli intelligence reports, as well as messaging from Hamas and mediators in recurring rounds of negotiations. The reason for the difference in the 2 assessments was not clear. There are 20 hostages believed to be alive, with grave concerns for the well-being of 2 of them. During the latest negotiations for a hostage and ceasefire deal in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, Israel demanded the return of all the hostages, both living and dead, as a condition for ending the war. Right, so they're demanding the return of all hostages, both alive and deceased, but at the same time, it seems like they're well aware that may not be a possibility as far as retrieving or returning some of the deceased hostages. Right, 3 Israeli sources say Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet have known for months that Hamas does not know the whereabouts of some of the deceased hostages and may therefore be unable to meet that demand. CNN has asked the Israeli government for comment. The United States has also known about the issue for some time, with negotiators in the Biden administration aware that some hostages were held by factions in Gaza over which Hamas does not exert full control. Barbara Leaf, Assistant Secretary of State for Middle Eastern Affairs under President Joe Biden, told CNN it's been the case from the outset that they, Hamas, had not had control over all of the hostages. Leaf said recovering the remains of some of the dead hostages could be difficult. It's far more likely that they can recover all of the living hostages, he said. However, it's unclear how this uncertainty could affect the efforts to finalize the deal announced on Wednesday. One Israeli source said that Israel's official position is that Hamas is responsible for all of the deceased hostages and that the Israeli government expects all of them returned. The source said that Hamas might use the uncertainty over its ability to return all of the dead hostages to draw out of the implementation of any ceasefire arrangements and to insist that it would not return all of the remaining hostages until Israel agrees to a full military withdrawal from Gaza. Another Israeli source expressed concern that Netanyahu might use the uncertainty as a pretext to derail talks. Critics of Israeli Prime Minister, including opposition leaders and families of hostages, have repeatedly accused him of deliberately undermining negotiations to end the war, alleging he enemy imposes new conditions for political reasons, particularly when agreements appear close, right? So it seems like both sides are kind of trying to use this to their benefit, but it seems like this might be something in the pocket of Benjamin Netanyahu, where down the line he says, well, you didn't actually return all of the hostages alive and deceased. But he knew that going into it. The U.S. government knew that going. Oh, thank you. Let's fucking go. I appreciate you, dude. I really do. My man Pierre, I can't even, how much I need to thank you and appreciate you and take you out to dinner or something is just, I'm stacking up the losses here, my man. I'm stacking up the losses, but I appreciate you. I hope you're staying safe. Hope everybody is doing well, and hope everybody was taken care of. Hope everybody is, just as happy as ever. I do thank you so much, my man. I really do. That's huge. 20 gifted memberships. And please make sure, as always, if you're one of the 20 people in the chat that receives a gifted membership from anybody, including Machine Tool here, please reach out to them via the chat and say thank you. Even if you didn't get one of those memberships, reach out and say thank you for helping this community, helping this channel grow. Again, we're on our way to 1,000 members, which is unbelievable, I think, for having as little subscribers as we do, for fighting our way to 14,000 subscribers. Well, 13.5 at this point. To have 1,000 members signed up that show support financially, and above that going on to the Patreon and others is unbelievable. So Machine Tool, everybody else, you guys are fantastic. Thank you for that. And don't forget, I've put out a couple shorts, a couple videos as well. Make sure you guys go check those out. It's a little disheartening when you have 13,000 subscribers and you can only get about 500 to watch the video, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Not everybody's always interested, but I do appreciate the people that did check it out. All right, so just a little bit more from this, and we'll go back to this first article here. But I just wanted to kind of point that out as like maybe something we need to look at down the line as something that could be used, again, seemingly by that article or what they were saying, by either side to kind of disrupt negotiations to try to get a little bit more for their side, right? So Israel would then release about 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences in Israeli jails and 1,700 detainees from Gaza. A Palestinian source told the BBC their identities are currently unclear, but as a list submitted by Hamas before the agreement was reached included high-profile figures serving multiple life sentences for deadly attacks on Israelis. One of the most high-profile prisoners, Marwan Bourgouti, will not be released as part of the swap, according to the Israeli spokespeople. Israel will also return the bodies of 15 Gazans and for the remains of each Israeli hostage, according to Trump's plan. Hundreds of lorries carrying humanitarian aid will also start entering Gaza, where a famine was confirmed by UN-backed experts in August. Trump's plan specified that 600 lorry loads would be delivered each day, but Palestinian sources said that there would initially be a daily minimum of 400, with the number increasing gradually after that. What happens next? If completed, the first phase of Trump's 20-point plan would be followed by negotiations over the details of later phases, but many of these points could be hard to reach an agreement on. Again, seemingly leaving us in the position of a lot of these so-called wars and conflicts that Trump has said that he's ended around the world, where they have some of them have come to an agreed stalemate, but as for a long an agreed upon long-lasting peace, they're nowhere near any of those. And even in a lot of those conflicts that he's talked about, there are active and ongoing shootings and skirmishes going on still. So let's see here. If completed the first 20 phase, the proposal, which you can read here in full, says that if it agreed by both sides, the war would immediately end if Gaza would be demilitarized and all military, terror, and offensive infrastructure would be destroyed. It also says Gaza would be governed by a temporary transitional committee of Palestinian technocrats supervised by a board of peace headed by and chaired by Donald Trump and involving former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. Governance of the Strip would eventually be handed over to the Palestinian Authority once it has been reformed. Hamas would have no future role in governance in Gaza directly or indirectly, according to the plan. Again, a huge sticking point in this whole thing. Hamas members would be offered amnesty if they committed to peaceful coexistence or be provided safe passage to another country. Another thing that was kind of shocking to hear on this, I don't know what MAGA would think if a lot of those people decided to choose the United States as their country for safe passage, but who knows which countries are even on the list. I'm not sure if that's detailed yet. No Palestinians would be forced to leave Gaza, and those who wish to leave would be free to return. A Trump economic development plan to rebuild and energize Gaza would be created by a panel of experts. What are the sticking points? So here are the sticking points. This is probably one of the more important parts of the whole thing. But there are likely to be multiple points of contention during the negotiations over the later phases of the deal. Like Gaza deal is a huge moment, but this is just the beginning. Hamas has previously refused to lay down its weapons, saying it would only do so once a Palestinian state has been established. The group also made no mention of disarming in its initial response to the plan last weekend, fueling speculation that in its position has not changed. And although Israel agreed to plan in full, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared to push back on involvement of the PA in post-war Gaza, even as he stood on the podium next to the president last week, insisting it would play no role in governing the territory. We brought that up on this show before, and we talked about the speech that he gave in Hebrew not that long ago, talking about how he wanted the IDF to have and remain in more control than this plan allowed, right? So let's see. Hamas said it also expects to have some future role in Gaza as part of a unified Palestinian government. Another sticking point is to the extent the Israeli troop withdrawal, right? So that's what we were just talking about. Israel says its first withdrawal will see it's retaining control around 53% of Gaza. The White House plan indicates further withdrawals to around 40%, then 15%. Again, those were the colored lines that we talked about when this was first announced. The final stage would be a, quote, security perimeter that would remain until Gaza is properly secure from any resurgent terror threat. Now, who determines that is also going to be a major sticking point in this whole thing, right? The wording here is vague, right, as we just pointed out, and gives no clear timeline for full Israeli withdrawal, something Hamas is likely to want clarity on. Does that go on, or does it end there? Seems like it kind of abruptly ends there. But I think that only kind of gets into just a few of the sticking points. Like, I think there's a lot more than that. So why is that just kind of ends there where it doesn't even like really finish the article is kind of strange. But again, look no further than this right here as well. Like, again, this was, reportedly, as reported by OSINT Defender here, despite initial reports suggesting that the ceasefire began this morning at 12 p.m. EEEST, Israeli Merkava main battle tanks have been deployed on the Al-Rashid coastal road to prevent Palestinians from re-entering Gaza City, opening fire earlier on crowds that were attempting to cross from southern into northern Gaza. Officials with the Israel Defense Force deny that the ceasefire is yet in effect, stating that it will only begin and the IDF will start their withdrawal once the agreement is approved later tonight by the Israeli Political and Security Cabinet. So again, basically just continue. It has carte blanche. It has, full permission to continue its killing of innocent civilians up until that fucking pen hits the paper, right? Like this, again, this is not a sign to me of a force of a nation that wants to end this, right? Like stopping the flotilla from coming into Gaza, like stopping the aid, right? Like I don't even mind if you stop Greta Thunberg and all the people that were on the ships, don't allow them in, but at least fucking distribute the aid that was on the ships and the equipment and stuff like that. I could see if the rhetoric coming from Benjamin Netanyahu was a lot different and a more agreeable, right? But it's not. So it's like these things are leading me to believe that, we need to, again, continue to take this with a massive grain of salt until we see the actual results that deserve commendation, that deserve, I don't know, fucking not applause, but, deserve to be lauded over, deserve to be fucking praised, right, is the word I'm looking for. But here, let's check this out, because again, this was reportedly this morning, but the excuse was that the Israeli political fucking force or the Israeli political cabinet hasn't actually signed the agreement yet, so they can just open fire with tanks on the beach, I guess. Here we go.
منطقة واد نعم الآن على ما يبدو قذيفة نعم قذيفة الآن على الهواء مباشرة. نرجو أن تتوقوا الحذر ونذكر بأن المكتب الإعلامي الحكومي.
Yeah, not to mention this is on top of the 118 Palestinians that have been killed since Friday when Donald Trump requested and instructed Israel to cease action, cease their combat actions so that they could have and get more of this, so they could talk about the peace deal, right? Excuse me. And since then, as reported, about 118 Palestinians have been killed since then. And I'm sure that number has risen looking at what we're seeing here on the screen.
نذكر أشرف بأن المكتب الإعلامي الحكومي طلب
see
من
the tanks
المواطنين
here.
عدم التوجه نحو شارعي أو من خلال شارعي الرشيد وصلاح الدين نحو مدينة
It just fired again. You can see the impact here.
نعم نحن
People
أمام
running all over
تطورات
the place.
حقيقة خطيرة
So again, you wonder why I'm skeptical. You wonder why I'm taking this with a massive grain of salt. All those reasons that I just stated and more, and the reasons that I'm putting on the screen right now are the reason that I am skeptical that this is in any way an attempt to find some long-lasting peace or to, find some attempt to, recognize the Palestinian state and to give them back their, you know what I mean? Like I'm very, very skeptical, and for good fucking reason. So that was one thing that I wanted to point out. I'll bring this in and we'll go on to our next story here for the sake of time. Put that off. Which was it? So you know what? Again, we'll stick to the clips for this one because I'm not going to subject you. I kind of, for the first time in a while, I subjected you to a lot of Donald Trump yesterday. So I think we'll take a break from listening to his rambling bullshit after he just came out blatantly yesterday to say he was burning the First Amendment, ripping up the Constitution, and making it illegal for anybody to burn the American flag. So what do you say we dive into just a couple of the clips? Some of these might be from his Hannity interview that we could probably gloss over, but I really wanted to get into a couple of the clips from his his meeting today and what he had to say today. So what do you say we just dive into a few of these? I think we'll just start here because I think this is coming from his Hannity interview. So we'll just dive in here. Start it from the beginning. And again, we don't have to go through a ton of these. I just wanted to see how he sounded because, again, a lot of questions about his health, as we'll get into when we talk about this Midas Touch video and him going to Walter Reed on Friday for another yearly checkup after he just had one for 6 months, and them trying to kind of, conflate this trip with meeting the troops and shaking hands and, licking lollipops and kissing babies and shit. And basically just say like the side, basically, at a time of his choosing on the side, he's going to go in for a checkup that he really doesn't need. So we'll be talking about that, but I just want to see and hear how he sounds here because he sounded like shite yesterday. He sounded like, again, he was 5 feet of the 6 feet he needed to be underground in order for the dirt to continue to be thrown on top of the casket, right? Sounded like, again, like I said, Derek Chauvin was somewhere in the vicinity of Donald Trump kneeing on his lungs or his neck or something like that.
It's brought the whole world together. It's amazing. I've never seen anything. It's so good for
He doesn't sound good at all. He just doesn't sound good at all, right? Sounds like shite.
Israel.
And you can tell in the meeting, I think it was the meeting with his, the Antifa meeting, and it may have been, again, this morning where he's struggling to keep his eyes open as usual. It looks like he's about to fall asleep, right? He sounds horrendous. He looks horrendous. He has zero energy. His head's drooping. So it might be somebody in his inner circle saying, hey, sir, I think we need to kind of, get this looked at. But let's see here. Let's see if we can kind of find one from this morning. What's he say here? Trump on tariff lawsuit. The enemy of the country that are pursuing the lawsuit. Yada, yada, yada. Trump, we are taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. Nobody took advantage of going after Biden. Gaza will be peaceful, much safer. Obviously has been blown to pieces, not just by Israel, but, oh, Jesus. Let me guess. He says 3,000 years in this one. I'll bet my life he says 3,200. Some people say 100.
Well, Gaza is going to be a peaceful, much safer place. Obviously, it's been blown to pieces, and this is just not by Israel. This is over years and years and years. It's been heartache for many years. A lot of people say this is a deal for 3,000 years. So whether you say 500, because some people say
I was wrong. I was close. He says 500. 3,500. Doesn't matter what you say. You can just totally make up the years because everything else about it is apparently made up as well. Let's see if we can just kind of go fast forward here. I know he had a couple of them. So this was Trump on flag burning. We took away the freedom of speech. That was yesterday. We covered that one. What was it? I know I saw him in here somewhere. Oh, here we go. We become the party of good healthcare. Okay, let's see how he fits this into reality. The party that, again, did away with the funding for cancer research for children, defunded USAID, has kicked out, countless millions of people from their health care because they've made it more difficult. They've put in more roadblocks, more hurdles. What else? They've kicked military members. They've stripped them of their benefits. What else? There's a million things. They want to strip women of their ability to control their own body and the health care that they can receive for that. They want to control what, again, just everyday Americans can and can't do with their bodies. But yeah, as far as being the party of healthcare, let's see how he fits this in reality.
At the same funding levels, we're not going to do anything only good for healthcare. We're really, I think, become the party of good healthcare.
Yeah, the party of good health. How's that healthcare plan working for you? Have you come out with that healthcare plan that was supposed to come out? What was it? 6 years ago at this point? 7 years ago at this point? You still working on that? I'm sure this is going to be it's going to be a beauty. It's going to be a beauty when that thing finally, when it finally comes out. But how you can get up there again as the person that went out there and said, we're going to have this huge healthcare plan to totally fucking replace Obamacare and this and that, have absolutely come out with nothing since then. And then to come out and call yourself the party of healthcare, wildly fucking confident in that one.
And they keep using healthcare as a cudgel. Want to try and get everyone thinking about healthcare. We're the ones that are saving healthcare. Government.
Jesus Christ. Let's see what else he got into here. Trump, we are the ones saving healthcare. One of the things we're doing is we're going to be reducing the cost of medicines by 100%, 200, 300, 500, even more. I mean, I wonder if these drug companies know that at some point they're going to be paying us to take their drugs. I wonder if he ran that by these CEOs before he came out. Or does he know how math works? Is he not sure how math works? Maybe somebody should inform him how math works.
Healthcare. We're the ones that are saving healthcare. In fact, one of the things we're doing is we're going to be reducing the cost of medicines by 100%, 200, 300, 500%, and even more than that because healthcare. We're the ones that.
Jesus Christ. Oh, get out the abacus. Which one was this? Trump refuses to protect healthcare. We become the party of healthcare. We just watched that one. We just saw that one. Which one's this? Oh, yeah. A lot of Democrats want to get this thing open. They're calling us. So is he openly admitting here that it's the Democrats that want to open the government, that wanted to keep it open in the first place? And it was the Republicans, again, with control of the presidency, the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, all the way down to, different federal agencies that we could talk about, that they were the ones that let the government lapse and, close the government. So he's now openly saying that it's the Democrats that want to open this thing and not the Republicans, because that kind of goes against everything that Mike Johnson and, everything everybody else has been saying this whole time. What's he say here? Let's go.
We'll move them out. So Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and the congressional Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage. I will tell you, a lot of Democrats want to get this thing open too. They do.
Quite literally in the same sentence as he tries to blame Democrats again, he then says that there's a lot of Democrats that want to open. If you just spread the lies out a little bit and didn't try to back your bullshit up, to another, I don't know. It's crazy.
Calling us and they just want to get it open. And we'll move them.
Again, yes. The party that wants to govern, the party that wants to do things that are right by the people, that wants to make the government work efficiently, right? Like that whole thing, instead of shutting down, having federal workers not get paid, having you have the ability to eliminate different federal agencies. I think he says that in this. I think that was one of the clips that I saw. He just comes out right and says he's going to eliminate things that Democrats like and that Republicans don't like because that's the way it is, and something about taste of their own medicine. That medicine won't be acetaminophen. I can promise you that, but he's going to give us a taste of his own medicine somehow. But here he is talking about AOC. They just can't get enough of AOC. It's either Joe Biden or AOC they're talking about nowadays.
And they don't know how to go about it. I mean, and the problem is we really don't know who the hell is leading the Democrats. You have this AOC. I don't know her at all, but I watched her the other day. She said, well, if they want, they could come to my office. That's not leadership, The only one that challenged her actually was Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy's not looking too good. I don't know what happened to her.
Says the guy that looks like that. I'm sorry, Pot. Calling kettle black? I'm sorry, do you live in a fucking house of glass and you just line the fucking walkway up with different rocks of different sizes that passerbys could pick up and just toss at your fucking home at will? Like, I don't like, does this guy have a fucking mirror anywhere? Like, there's enough gold in there. It should be able to reflect somewhat of your fucking appearance. I know you're the same color as it, so that's probably difficult. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he chooses golds, because he can't see himself in. I don't know. Just a thought. What else we got here? Because let's see if we can just find that one clip where he talks about taking away what the Democrats want, because I think that's probably the main. Here you go. Here you go. This is probably the main one. I don't think you really need to watch much more than this clip to figure out what the intentions are and who actually benefits and wants the government shut down. Check this out.
Not yet, because it's early, but it gets a little bit worse as it goes along. And we'll be making cuts that will be permanent. And we're only going to cut Democrat programs. I hate to tell you. I guess that makes sense. But we're only cutting. Only
difference is this guy, Spajo, was a Nazi, right? Followed closely in the footsteps by the apple that doesn't fall far from the tree.
Democrat programs. But we're going to start that. And we have Russell, we can talk to you about it if he wants to, but we'll be cutting some very popular Democrat programs that aren't.
Some very popular Democrats. What's he say? Some very popular Democrat what? Policies? What's he say?
That aren't popular with Republicans, frankly, because that's the way it works. They wanted to do this, so we'll give them a little taste of their own medicine. But Chuck
won't be acetaminophen. Again, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, it won't be acetaminophen. It's going to be medicine, probably that RFK-backed bullshit that they've been trying to push lately. But let's just hear that one more time from the horse's mouth. Again, in consecutive days, he says, he's going to, again, the president that's supposed to be the most the president that is the most pro-free speech in American history has now said in 2 consecutive days that he's taken away free speech, and now B is going to use the dictatorial powers that have been afforded to him in this government shutdown to take away popular fucking what do they call them? I don't even know what you call them. Popular policies, popular funds, popular, I don't know what the hell they're called. Yeah, it might be ivermectin too. Yeah, right. That might be it. Might be ivermectin. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. But again, a lot of these different things are, I mean, he himself calls it popular with the people, right? So it's amazing to me that he's sitting here in front of the cameras at this little fucking cabinet meeting he's got, actively telling the American people that he's going to strip them of popular policies that benefit them because they are liked by Democrats and not liked by Republicans. I mean, I don't understand. Does it get more authoritarian? It doesn't get more fascistic than that. So when you call him a fascist, when you call him an authoritarian, like, this is what we mean. This is the exact use of these powers, the fucking Reichstag-like powers that he has, getting this fucking shutdown and using them at will to, again, accrue more power. And that's exactly what we were afraid of. That's exactly what we've been talking about. But now it's good to hear him, and, it's at least good to have him on fucking record, on camera, as saying this, right? Because, it's going to be tough to dig himself out of that hole now, where he's just blatantly said that he's going to take away popular items that are popular to the people, just because they're popular also with Democrats, but not so much with Republicans. So again, that's your president, ladies and gentlemen. The person that's supposed to have your best interest, that's supposed to have your back, telling you right now that he's going to take away your freedom of speech. He's now labeled you as a domestic terrorist. And now this fucking bullshit. All right. So again, I think that's about all we need to see from his fat orange ass. And now once you get the point, but speaking of fascism and anti-fascist, I know that's been a huge debate recently for some friggin' reason. I'm not sure why, but apparently we need to go back to school. Okay. Apparently we need to be taught like we're 3rd graders, like we're 2nd graders, exactly what it means, fascism, exactly what it means to be anti-fascism and against fascism. Right. So again, this is just a short clip. It's about 3-4 minutes long. We'll breeze by this and then we'll get out of school for today. But I just want to make sure that anybody that watches this, anybody that replays this, that may be unsure, maybe there's a couple magas in the chat that'll listen in silently. Maybe we even have a couple trolls that are speaking outright. Who knows? Maybe they can learn from this. But here we go. Here's just a little explanation here. Fascism explained. What is fascism? What is a fascist? And what does it mean to be against that, anti-fascist? So here we go.
Zimmerman, welcome to Illustrate to Educate. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support more simple and objective videos on topics that matter. What is fascism? In this video, we'll dive into everything you need to know about it. Fascism is a complex and mutable political ideology, but is typically defined as a far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement, characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation and race, and strong regimentation of society and the economy.
Sound familiar yet? Anybody? Does this sound familiar? Does this sound like this could be describing a certain, I don't know, political party, I don't know, a certain political fucking regime that is in charge right now of the United States? Does this sound familiar yet? Are we kind of getting like a, I kind of know somebody that meets that distinction. I could probably put somebody in that category right now. Okay, we continue.
The word comes from the Italian fascio, meaning a bundle or a group, and is considered a term for a militant brotherhood. The word fasces means an axe tightly bound with sticks, an image that became a symbol of the fascist movement. The symbolism of fasces suggests strength through unity. A single rod is easily broken, while the bundle is difficult to break. Fascism came to prominence in the 1920s and 1930s in Europe. The most notorious examples of fascist governments have been Benito Mussolini's National Fascist Party in Italy from 1922 to 1943, and Adolf Hitler's National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazi Party, from 1933 to 1945.
Okay, so not good company so far, not the greatest of people, not people you want to be associated with, okay? So it's pretty, so far, I think it's probably smart to be against what we've heard so far, right? So anti what we've heard so far. So again, if they're fascist and we're against that, that would make us anti-fascist. So again, is everybody with me so far? Okay, everybody's with me. We're against Mussolini and we're against Hitler. So far, we're good.
Other countries have also been ruled in the 20th century by fascist regimes, such as Francisco Franco in Spain and Juan Perón in Argentina.
Okay, so again, do we have any difficulty saying, nope, but those are not great people, not good people, and we're probably against not only them, but the policies they put in place and the harm that they cause their people and, so on and so forth. So again, we're all good? We're all good. All right? We're all good? Let's go.
According to some definitions, fascism rejects assertions that violence is inherently bad and views...
Okay, so let's just go, we'll go topic by topic here, and we'll see how closely this defines MAGA, the MAGA movement, Donald Trump himself. So right off the bat, it's really quick to say that violence is not inherently a bad thing and can be used to the benefit of the political program, right? So that's number one, and then we'll go back here. Ready?
Definitions: fascism rejects assertions that violence is inherently bad and views imperialism, political violence, and war as a means to national rejuvenation.
To a means to national rejuvenation. Like, how much does Donald Trump continue to talk about the rejuvenation of the military as he's bringing back the Department of War and how that's going to turn us into this, elite fighting force and really bring back our pride for the nation, right? Like the strong military is always something being talked about by Donald Trump. How many times have we heard him say he rebuilt the entire military? As much as we know that's complete bullshit and utter stupidity to even, the word out of mouth. But it's again, can we see how it's not that far fetched for us to, what, that sounds like somebody we know.
Fascists often advocate for the establishment of a totalitarian one-party state.
One-party state. So as we've heard recently, very recently, probably the most prominently, them being talked about that they need to eradicate Democrats, like they need to eliminate Democrats as a political party, as a political faction. Right now, give our tried to label and have labeled Antifa, anybody that's an anti-fascist, as a domestic terrorist in this country, right? So again, they want that one-party system. They would love to have Republicans in control of everything in this country. Another way that we can say, that sounds like a party that I know.
And for a dirigist economy with the principal goal of achieving autarky, national economic self-sufficiency.
Self-sufficiency. So how much do we talk about, how much do the Republicans talk about they don't want to be, and again, not all of this is bad individually. Like, we don't want to be reliant upon, different nations for different things that are vital to the everyday, how the wheels turn every day in this country. We don't want to be reliant on, like, how we're trying to detach from China. How, like, Ukraine, we talk about, is trying to detach from their use of Chinese weapons in pieces and parts and stuff like that, right? So all of this stuff, if you take it piece by piece, may not be inherently a bad thing. But again, when you put it all together and you put it into the bigger political ideology that it's wrapped in, that's when it starts becoming a huge problem. So it's going to talk about how they want to be self-sufficient, right? They want to be, the isolationist tactics that they use, right? They don't want to worry about other nations. They don't want to send money or aid or anything to any other country. They want, everything built here. They want us to be self-sufficient. They want us to be isolated from the world, so we don't have to rely upon anybody else. We don't trade with anybody. Like, that type of thing is what he's talking about here.
Protectionist and economic interventionist policies. Fascism's extreme authoritarianism and nationalism often manifests as belief in racial purity or
Now, does that sound familiar, guys? Does that sound familiar, that the extreme authoritarianism and nationalism would rear its ugly head in the form of racial purity? Like, where have we heard that before? I know we could talk about easily the Nazis and Adolf Hitler and how they used racial purity to their benefit to try to, propagandize the people. But again, does this seem like something that's like a reoccurring theme that we're now facing?
master race, usually blended with some variant of racism or bigotry against a human.
Racism or bigotry? How about racism and bigotry in this case, right? So bigotry, another huge talking point. Another huge part of the rhetoric coming from the right is their bigotry, their hatred for others, whether it be skin color, whether it be trans people, whether it be you pick your fucking community that has been marginalized by the Republican Party.
Other, such as what was seen with Jews during the Hitler era. Ideas such as these have motivated fascist regimes to commit genocides, massacres, forced sterilizations, mass killings, and forced deportations.
Okay, so forced deportation, I don't think that needs to be really explained as far as what's seen in today's society by ICE, by Border Patrol, by Donald Trump and his policies, right? I don't think that the Republicans would have any problem if you went out there and put out a policy of maybe forced sterilization. All right, I'm back. I think. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's happened a few times today. It's kicked me off for some reason. Not too sure why. Not too sure. Sorry about that. Appreciate you sticking with me. Let's see. Where was I? I think I was on this one. Let's see if anything works now. Let's see if anything works now. All right, we're back. I just yelled and screamed a little bit. I don't think I did anything. I'm not sure what it is. It says I have full internet. Says everything's fine. I'm not sure. It just keeps kicking me off. Did this last night a couple times too. But anyway, all right. Let's see if we can continue.
World War II in 1945, few parties have openly described themselves as fascists. The term is more often used derogatorily by political opponents. The descriptions of neo-fascists and post-fascists are sometimes employed to describe contemporary parties with ideologies similar to or rooted in 20th century fascist movements. Core fascist ideologies and goals similar to those of Hitler and Mussolini are still present in populist organizations today.
Okay. Take five. Take five. All right. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't want me playing that video. So maybe we'll just move on. Let's talk about Trump's health then. Maybe it'll talk about Trump's health. Let me put this at the beginning. I'll put this on the screen for you guys. We'll get into maybe if fucking Trump's gonna shit the bed. I don't know. Didn't like me educating people on what fascism was as opposed to anti-fascist, and how that's actually the right side of history. And that's the place where you're supposed to be, is against the fascism. But again, here we go. I'm gonna put this on the screen for you guys. Again, this is a little. This is a video by Midas Touch from Ben here, talking about Trump and his recent. Come on, something fucking work at some point, please. I don't understand. Can you see? Yes, add to the stage. Put it on the stage. I want it on the stage. I don't know why it's not working. Hello? I don't know. Oh, here we go. There we go. We're back. We're back in business. All right, here we go. So Trump's health deteriorates fast as he visits hospital. This is talking about his, again, scheduled visit coming up on Friday. So let's see if we can get into this. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the glitched shit is. That's my apologies.
So
Play.
some very serious health concerns regarding Donald Trump are once again surfacing as he said to Walter Reed Medical Center on Friday for what the White House is referring to as a routine yearly checkup. You see, the issue is that they claim he already had a routine yearly checkup.
Oh my fucking god! I'm gonna snap. I don't understand. But you can see why this is such a fucking mystery to people. I was like, okay, I don't understand. I wish I did understand, and I could be like, yeah, that's what's going on, and we could fix it together. But I just have no fucking idea. Everything looks good. Everything's up and running, and then it's not up and running. So I apologize. Let me see if I can bring this back on the screen, and we'll take fucking 5. I'm gonna fight through it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna fight through it. I'm getting pissed. I'm getting aggravated. I'm getting fucking annoyed. But we're gonna fight through it. I promise. We're gonna fight through it. No. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, yes, ad stage. I'm gonna put that on there. I'm really, really confused. I don't understand. Internet access, that's connected. Everything's all set. Everything looks good. Not your holy buttons. Yeah. All right, let me see if I can add this to the stage for a second. For some reason, it's not letting me put anything in there. I don't know. You got me by the tail, guys. You got me by the tail. This hasn't happened in a while. Am I being attacked by the deep state here? Is this a deep state attack by the Russians or something? Because I know them about the, gonna talk to them? I don't know. It's just not recognizing. It's not recognizing a plan. All right, okay. Well, let me see if I can do it this way. X that out. No, I have a feeling it's going to kick me off in just another second, too. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, share screen again. I'll try it one more time. At the stage. It's just not putting it like StreamYard. I think StreamYard's having a problem, it must be. Because everything else is working fine. Just keeps kicking me off of StreamYard. Like that you just saw. Oh, here we go. All right, let's see if this works. Let's see if it works. Sorry, guys. My apologies. Yeah, maybe it's Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know what it is. Some weird shit's going on. It's either a problem with StreamYard. No, it's not my headphones or anything. It's just it keeps kicking me off the website. It keeps kicking me off of StreamYard, and then it won't let me come back in. And then when I do come back in, it won't add anything to the screen. So I think it's a StreamYard problem or an internet issue. I'm not sure. But let's see if we can get into this again. Well, I don't know if Trump's dying on Friday.
There, the purported doctor said that Donald Trump was perfectly healthy, as evidenced by the fact that he wins many golf tournaments. That was a direct.
Remember that? Remember that when he actually said he had his doctors right, or supposedly wrote that he knew he was in great shape because of the amount of fucking golf tournaments he won? Like, nothing says you're in the best of shape like you going in and faking to play the golf tournament and just writing your name down on a scorecard with one less stroke than the fucking other person had. That was originally supposed to win that. Unreal. Like, it's so many things that we'll be looking back in history and like, I can't believe that happened. Like, yep, they actually tried to prove the health of the president by saying that he wins many golf tournaments.
Direct quote from those what I thought were very phony medical reports at the time. Now, we're also learning about some other data points that suggest.
Would you say can't hear anything, Brian? Too choppy and glitchy? How's that? Audio is going in and out too. I don't fucking understand what is going on. Like, what has changed in the last day and everything has been stable? Wow. Are there a ton of people online, something like that? I'll try it again. I'll take it off the screen. I'll put me up there. Yeah, I can tell stream that's still not working right. Well, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to restart. Yeah, I'm going to restart it. Give me about 3 minutes. I'll probably have to start. No, everything's all right. I don't need to be calling anybody. I'm just going to reboot it, restart it, and see if that works. Give me a couple minutes, and then I'll be right back on. All right, I appreciate you guys. I'll be right back on. Sorry about that. But it's working right now. Let's see. Now the sound is good. All right, let me see if I can put this back on the screen. All right, let's try this again before I go reboot and everything. Let's see if this works one more time. You can tell it's probably not gonna work. Nothing's working as it should. All right, fuck it. Well, I'm not gonna make you guys stop. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Fucking joke.